Meanwhile, how to stand out in a tough job market. There's no doubt about it. It is tough out there. Take a look at this. Last week in Atlanta, thousands of people stood online for hours at a job fair that was sponsored by the Congressional Black Caucus. Some camped out overnight. Others waited in the stifling heat. Many complained that when they did finally see a recruiter, they were just told to apply online. Now, in a statement, the Congressional Black Caucus said it's going to follow up with employers who were there to see just how many jobs they filled. So joining me now is Johanna Hill. She attended the job fair on Thursday. Also here with us is Miriam Salpeter, a job search and social media coach. Thanks to you both for joining us. Johanna, you waited 4.5 hours online. You got inside, and then what happened?
Basically, they just explained to us to go visit the different recruiters, but as you got to each one, I only had one, and I believe that was, I think it was Verizon. It was the only one that took a resume. All the rest of them basically just explained to apply online, and they gave you their website.
How'd that make you feel?
Especially after waiting in line for almost 4 hours. We really were, and I think everyone else along with me, we really expected to speak to a recruiter. We were even told that there were 70 of the employers that would be hiring on the spot, and I didn't see any that hired on the spot.
Now, the Congressional Black Caucus says for some job seekers, it is left to them to follow through with online applications. Part of the problem is you've been out of work for 18 months and you cut your internet service to save money, right?
Exactly. Exactly. So it was very difficult. What I've been doing is basically following up. There are places where you can use their internet. So Department of Labor, you have access. All the libraries, doesn't matter what county.
So at least you're going to the library, you're trying to update your resume and so forth. So Miriam, that's where you come in. So what is your advice then to Johanna? What should she be doing right now?
The most important thing, first of all, is networking. So that's first off. But when you're applying for jobs online, it's crucial to make sure to have a resume that's targeted specifically for the jobs you're applying for.
Right, not the old paper resume, just one and done. You've got to have several. And what I found interesting when I was looking at the research is a lot of times you get screened out when you're applying for a job just by the computer process before you even see a person, right? So what do you do to prevent that from happening?
You want to make sure to use keywords in your resume. And what that means is you need to review job descriptions and see what it is they're looking for in the job descriptions. Make sure those words are in your resume. Skills, job titles, computer programs, anything in the job description needs to be in the resume, or else the computer doesn't choose you for the interview.
And what I find interesting is even if you haven't held that job before, right? It's just a way to trick the system, if you will.
Well, using headlines on your resume that are job titles, even if you've never held that job title, it gives the system an opportunity to say, oh, this person could be qualified.
Of course, employers will deny this, but there's been a lot of talk out there that that when people go to apply for jobs, they're told, if you don't have a job, don't bother applying. So what do you tell someone like Johanna, you know, when she might think, oh, you have to have a job to get one?
That is so frustrating, and that's not true in all cases, but it's very important to appear to be involved in your field, even if you're not currently working. So, for example, even if you're not being paid to do your job, you can be active in social media. For example, in my book, Social Networking for Career Success, I tell people how they can interact on Twitter, they can engage on LinkedIn, and share information and advice with others as experts in their field.
Johanna, what have you done, may I ask, in the past 18 months in terms of trying to make yourself more marketable to employers?
I really haven't done the networking, more or less, like she said, like the Twitter and Facebook and that, but I've done network with people. I've just...
Are you out there just as much as you can?
It doesn't matter. I can meet someone standing on the corner. It doesn't really matter who they are. You know, I kind of like put myself out there and just open myself up a little bit, just to let them know that I am interested. I'm looking. I'm seeking and trying to seek employment.
Miriam, you know, obviously there are a few sectors that are hiring. At this point, Johanna says, you know, she's been out of work for 18 months, she'll do anything. What's your advice in terms of companies or sectors she should be looking at?
Well, the number one thing is not to say, I can do anything. Employers don't want someone who seems desperate. And when you say, I can do anything you want, that makes you seem desperate. So focus in on what your specific skills are, and then identify specific jobs. Don't say, I'd like to apply for any job in your organization.
Johanna, when you hear the numbers, the unemployment rate overall in the nation is 9.1%. For blacks, it's 15.9%. For whites, it's 8.1%, nearly double for African Americans. How does that strike you when you see that?
And it may
number?
be even more than that, because honestly, they're not really counting. I think the numbers are sort of fudged. And then the reason why I say that is because there are people who are still unemployed, but their unemployment benefits have been exhausted. So they're not even being counted in those unemployment numbers, so to speak. So it's a little unfair, but you know, it is, that's the way it is. And you just try to keep your head up, keep going. I've had some good outlooks, so I think things are kind of looking up for me and changing.
Well, I hope so. I wish you the very best of luck.
Thank you.
18 months is a long time. You look great.
Well, thank you.
I wish you the best of luck. And Miriam, thank you so much for all of your advice. And another key one is to network even when you have a job, right?
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much.